CPC, Community Progress Council, has an annual budget of $11 million and employs 250 people. Its mission is to help families and individuals to become self-sufficient financially. CPC is funded by our tax dollars. A whole variety of programs like Head Start, pre-K counts, first-time home buyers, Job Ready program, emergency rent and utility assistance, because as many of you probably are not aware, I was not aware, that the Red Cross in a burned out situation pays for 3 days. CPC picks up the balance for a month, 2 months, whatever it might be. And also case management, among many others. When Robin became CEO 3 years ago, she walked into an organization that, in my opinion, had a lot of calcified bureaucracy. Over the past 3.5 years, she has completely changed the culture of that organization. She's bringing people to live without government assistance. And I don't know what could be more important and a better use of our tax dollars than that. So over the past 6 years, my tenure on the board and currently as chair, I've come to know Robin to be a consummate professional, an engaging individual, passionate about her work, and committed to the mission of CPC and its success. So please now welcome Robin Rohrbaugh, my good friend. Robin.
Wow, that was quite the introduction. I'm not sure who he was talking about, but that's actually a pretty cool person, I guess. Thank you, Henry, for your very kind words. And thank you, Rotary, for allowing me to come today to talk to you a little bit about Community Progress Council and poverty and self-sufficiency in York County. I'm very excited to be here. I am very passionate about this topic, so I will try very hard to keep the pace of my communication down. My nerves, I'll keep them calm. JL is ready to pick me up if my pants out for nerves. So we're good. I got it all covered. Community Progress Council. Let me find the remote. Community Progress Council is York County's community action agency. Our vision is to see a York County free of poverty. And our mission, as Henry explained, is to empower individuals and families to move towards self-sufficiency and to advocate for change to promote community growth. We do this by delivering an array of services. You may advance the slide, please. By delivering an array of services and trying to provide comprehensive, integrated services to the residents of York County living in poverty or with moderate needs. The next slide describes for you what I'm hoping to accomplish today. I would like first to talk to you a bit about what is poverty, what poverty is, and what self-sufficiency is, and put that a bit in some real terms to make that really real life for you. To talk a bit about what the barriers to self-sufficiency are, and then to talk to you about what Community Progress Council does to try and address the issues of poverty and self-sufficiency now and where we're going a bit into the future. The next slide describes how the federal government quantifies poverty in all communities. These are the 2016 Federal Poverty Guidelines, and I'll guide you to the second column that outlines what 100% of poverty is. And you'll notice for a single person, possibly with one child, the income of $16,020 is considered poverty. Let's put that into realistic terms. If you are a single parent with one child, your two primary expenses are going to be housing and child care. If you were fortunate to find a house or an apartment that you could rent for $650 a month, which would be a very affordable property in York County, you would be spending nearly $8,000 of that $16,000 towards housing. Assuming that that person is working, they will have child care expenses of about $475 a month. And that will take up an additional nearly $6,000. What remains then is slightly more than $200 a month to pay for transportation, food, utilities, and if your child is young, diapers and formula. I think that what we can portray here is that it is just physically not possible to live an existence in poverty. I think without having some support from the government and others. I think an important thing to mention here is that at $7.25 an hour, which is minimum wage, a person working full-time would only earn $15,080. So what we know is that the federal poverty guidelines ensure people working a full-time, part-time job, a full-time minimum wage job will live below the poverty line. So, how many residents in York County are affected by poverty? Next slide, please. Approximately 11% of all York County's population lives in poverty. And that's according to the 2013 census data, or 46,480 people. Nearly 38% of York City residents live in poverty, or approximately 16,669 people. Nearly 18% of all York County children under the age of 18 live in poverty during that same period of 2013. I think one of the most interesting things to note is that York County's the indicators report just recently came out and provided some data about the children between the ages of 5 and 17 across York County. In every school district in York County, the population of 5 to 17-year-olds living in poverty has increased, except York City School District. They basically stayed steady and actually decreased just a little bit. So poverty is affecting everyone throughout York County. The next slide, actually, Ken, you're going to go to the video now, I think does a really great job of describing what self-sufficiency is. I just want to remind you that CPC's mission is to empower people to achieve financial self-sufficiency. That doesn't mean we're hoping and striving to get them to 101% of poverty. They will still struggle and they will not be able to exist at 101% of poverty. So this video, created by our sister organization in Adams County, South Central Community Action, displays for us in a very effective manner what poverty and self-sufficiency look like and the challenge of getting out of poverty and moving towards self-sufficiency. I encourage you to read along, so you'll have to look at the slides if you're ready. And I'll be up here breathing in the meantime. You can stop there, thank you. At the end of the video, it mentioned a program that Adams County runs. We don't currently operate that program at Community Progress Council, but in the presentation, I will talk to you a little bit about what we do to address the issues of poverty. I think the video does an excellent job of describing the difference between poverty and self-sufficiency and the challenges that people experience trying to move forward. Next one. So what exactly is self-sufficiency? It is the amount of income a family needs to make to be able to provide for their basic needs without counting on any form of public assistance to help them. Unlike the federal poverty level, the self-sufficiency standard accounts for the number of people in the family and also their ages. All of you can imagine that the expense of having a toddler and an infant is much greater than a teenager. You have child care, diapers, formula. A teenager can work a little less, be a little bit more independent, and is actually more affordable in some ways. They also, through the self-sufficiency standard, account for geography. The cost of living differs by geographic region, and the self-sufficiency standard accommodates for that. Self-sufficiency standard accounts for the cost of housing, childcare, transportation, taxes in the calculation of what a person needs to make in order to live independent of assistance. It is a no-frills budget. It doesn't allow for retirement savings, debt repayment, educational loans, or the occasional emergency that we all experience. So the next screen talks about the living wage calculator. Living wage calculator and self-sufficiency standard are very similar, so I use them interchangeably. In this diagram, what you see is information reflective of the MIT study, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And again, they talk about how much a person needs to make, in this case on an hourly basis, in order to live a self-sufficient lifestyle. When I attempted to put the concept of poverty into real terms, I talked about a single parent with one child who made $16,020 living in poverty. This chart shows that to reach self-sufficiency, the same person would need to earn $44,050. That is nearly tripling their income from $16,000 to $44,000. So you can see the gap. Bridging the gap is very significant. So who lives below the self-sufficiency standard in Pennsylvania? Next slide, please. 79% of those who live below the self-sufficiency standard are employed. 51% have at least one worker in the family. Data from the 2010 census indicates that between 17 and 20% of the total York County population lives below the self-sufficiency standard. So whereas poverty is about 44,000 people countywide, self-sufficiency, if you're looking at the self-sufficiency level, is closer to 88 to 90,000 people that we're talking about as a target population that we're trying to assist. Also, 75%, the next slide please, 75% of those living below the self-sufficiency standard pay more than 30% of their income towards housing. That's significant because 30% is what is considered at a national level through the Housing and Urban Development Office to be an affordable rate to pay for your housing. 75% of those living below self-sufficiency pay more than that. 47% of those struggling with self-sufficiency have a higher education. They've graduated high school, they've got at least an associate's degree up to and including potentially a PhD. Single mothers are 5 times more likely than single fathers to live below the self-sufficiency standard. So what is the cause of poverty? The next slide shows that there are 4 causes of poverty: behaviors of the individual, human and social capital, exploitation, and political and economic structures. To successfully address the issues of poverty, we need to tackle the issues at all 4 levels. Frequently, as we talk about poverty in the community, at a cocktail party maybe, the conversation turns to personal behavior. Well, if the person just worked a little bit harder, they'd be able to earn more money and they'd get ahead. If we turn back to the video that, I hope you were able to read it, all of you. If we turn back to thinking about the video, think about that mother. We don't know a whole bunch about her, but one might assume that at the beginning when she was making $7.25 an hour, she didn't have the same educational level and the same ability to earn as she did at the end when she tripled her income. So that is really about social and human capital. Exploitation. If you think, I don't show the data on this, but the disproportionate number of African Americans and Latinos that live below the self-sufficiency standard, one might question whether or not that is about exploitation. Certainly, the fact that single mothers are 5 times more likely to live below the standard, to me, indicates some level of exploitation. The other thing to consider is the political structures. When you see the bar graph, and as earning power goes up, spending power goes down, it seems to me that that is a question of the structures we have put in place to help or hinder the success of someone trying to achieve self-sufficiency. So it is simply not enough for us to address the issues with an individual person. The next slide begins to talk a bit about what Community Progress Council does. We are an organization of approximately 250 employees, as Henry said. Our annual budget is approximately $11.5 million. We have 30 locations throughout York County. We service the entire county. 18 of those locations are our Head Start and our Head Start facilities, which are in the neighborhoods where poor kids live. We deliver services in the areas of early childhood education, case management, housing, and emergency and nutrition services. The next slide talks a bit about Early Head Start. In the Early Head Start program, we work with folks who are living under 100% of poverty. Most of the eligible participants are under 100% of poverty. And it could be a pregnant woman and her children up to the age of 3. It's a comprehensive program. It's early childhood education. We prepare those young children for social and emotional growth. We help the parents understand where the children's development should be, and then provide some coaching services to them to help prompt their child's growth and development. Early Head Start also provides healthcare services, dental services, screening for other conditions. So it's a very comprehensive program. We offer that to 76 families in the home throughout York County, so we send employees out into homes to work with new moms and their babies. And we have 24 children in a center-based location. You can see this is a picture of some of our kids in the center. Tim Warfield comes at Christmas time and plays the saxophone for them. It's pretty cool. So we have 24 children in the center-based program. That's full day, full year placement, and it's only for parents who are working or in school that can send their children up to the age of 3, the Early Head Start center-based program. The next slide talks a bit about Head Start. Again, it's also a comprehensive program. This is a picture of our Head Start kids who are between the ages of 3 and 5 at a dental clinic, the Family First Dental Clinic in Hanover. So in addition to preparing them for the typical skills to enter kindergarten ready to learn, reading, writing, those kinds of things, we're also working on social and emotional development with these children. We have comprehensive social service supports for the parents. So if a family is struggling with homelessness, domestic violence, employment issues, our Head Start employees are developing a plan with the family. We're not only preparing the child to learn, we're working with the family to support them as well in both Head Start and Early Head Start. Families are eligible for Head Start at 100% of poverty. There are some exceptions to that, but largely that is our criteria for eligibility to Head Start. The next program is Pre-K Counts. We have a very comprehensive partnership with the York City School District. I'm sure most of you are aware that York City's recovery plan is largely dependent on preparing children for kindergarten, and they put great emphasis on pre-K. Community Progress Council is the provider of those pre-K services. Starting this year, we have 13 classrooms. There are classrooms in every one of the K-8 buildings in New York City. And this is a very similar service to Head Start, Early Head Start, in that it is early childhood education. This program has less comprehensive social service and healthcare supports. However, I'm proud to tell you that because we think holistically about kids and families at Community Progress Council, we're tacking on services that a traditional pre-K program doesn't do. So we do provide dental services to those kids in New York City and some other things as well. So between Head Start, Early Head Start, and pre-K counts, we service nearly 900 low-income children in York County every year. I have to stop here and thank the Rotary Club. You have a display in the back of the room about the book drive the Literacy Committee is sponsoring right now. That will benefit our Head Start children, so thank you to those of you who have contributed. The conversation Ann had with all of us about America's Promise and the backpacks, that will benefit pre-K kids that are clients of Community Progress Council. So again, thank you very much to the Rotary Club for those contributions. The next program that we have is the Foster Grandparents Program. And these folks are a hoot. This is their annual Christmas party that you're seeing here. And what we do is essentially work with folks who are 55 or older. We train them to work with young kids who are at risk, mostly because of poverty. And they work one-on-one with children, primarily in a school setting or daycare center, to basically help them with one-on-one attention, to help them with reading, writing, arithmetic kinds of things. They get training one time a month and a very small stipend, because these are income eligible 55-year-olds. They get a stipend of $2.65 an hour to provide that volunteer service to the kids. That $2.65 does not count against any other benefits that they may be receiving. So it's a sort of dual benefit to young children and to the seniors who are able to stay active in the community. Our next program is case management. That is really, I was thinking, sitting at the table, the best way to describe case management is it's similar to counseling, therapy, but instead of talking about your feelings, you're talking about a problem, and you're working with an employee to develop a solution to whatever the problem is. In our case, we work with clients to identify resources in the community that can help them become or move towards self-sufficiency. We have services for folks 18 to 59 who are striving to become more self-sufficient, and the other place that we provide case management is to homeless, near homeless folks. And again, that's designing and implementing a plan to solve whatever problem the client brings to our attention. We also offer a Work Ready program, which is basic job readiness skills, attend work on time, call in if you're going to be sick, so on and so forth. The people that are participating in the Work Ready program are all referred to us through the County Assistance Office and have very weak employment histories. So we're really working with them on the soft skills about what it takes to be a good employee. We also have case managers who are addressing barriers to employment. So child care, domestic violence, housing, transportation keeps folks from showing up at work. We're working with them to try and address those issues. Community Progress Council has community centers in 4 rural locations in York County: Red Lion, Lewisberry, Delta, and Hanover. Those centers, the direct service that they offer primarily is fuel and energy assistance, so support towards folks being able to pay their monthly bill. We also, in most of the centers, distribute some kind of food through a food bank kind of activity. Community centers are a location where other Community Progress Council programs can go and operate. So the next slide will describe our WIC program. Each one of our community centers has a WIC clinic on a monthly basis, if not more often. We serve about 7,000, sorry, I just transitioned and didn't even realize it there. We serve about 7,000 people through our WIC program on an annual basis. That is a supplemental food and nutrition program, nutrition education program. It is for women who are pregnant or have babies up to the age of 5. We offer nutrition assistance to them. It is an income eligibility situation as well. We have satellite clinics to serve people in 7 locations throughout York County for WIC. We're rolling down to the end here. Rent assistance. Our rent assistance program helps folks who are homeless. We give them a first month's rent and security deposit for homeless folks. And for those who are at risk of homelessness, we will help them with a delinquent rent payment. People have to qualify based on their income and their living situation, so we don't give the money to folks who have the ability to pay. An individual person can receive $750 towards down payment and closing costs, and a family would receive $1,000. People are only eligible to receive that money every 24 months. One of the more exciting programs that we have is our Home Buyer Assistance Program. This is for first-time home buyers in the county. We can offer up to $5,000 for down payment and closing costs. In the city, we can offer up to $7,000. We We require people to attend an 8-hour home buyer education workshop. We want to make sure that if we put somebody in a home, they're going to be able to stay there long term. And secondly, we asked them to attend a 2-hour one-on-one counseling session where we dig deep into their finances and make sure, again, that they have the ability to pay moving forward. Moving into the future for Community Progress Council, we have a number of priorities. I think that as you read these and you think about it, it's very much like the priorities of any for-profit business, but we're nonprofit. We want to integrate. So I've talked to you about 30 locations. 3 of those locations offer some of our core services, and 3 of them are located in the city of York. So we're striving to find a facility in York City that would enable us to co-locate all of our staff under one roof. The next thing is around comprehensive service delivery. We're striving again to look at the family as the point of reference and what their needs are. And so if they are eligible for Head Start, they in essence are automatically eligible because of the same criteria for our WIC program. And so we're looking at information about how many of our clients cross over programs, how many of our housing folks are suffering because of energy assistance needs, and trying to create some crossover. We're being much more data-driven in our decision making. We're looking at our effectiveness and measuring outcomes to see, are we meeting mission? Are we having an impact on the people we serve? And we're looking at cost effectiveness and efficiencies. We're developing strategic partnerships around issues like affordable housing, adult education, and employment and training, because we know that they are weaknesses based on the community needs assessment we just did. And lastly, as we talked about, we are nearly 100% government funded. And there's not a business in this world that would survive on one source of funding and have stability. So we are striving as well to diversify our funding moving forward. Thank you again for the opportunity to come. If there are questions I could answer, I see guys sitting here, so I think I have probably